another. So this is our design 301 lecture for, which date is it? It's for the 22nd. And as I said, we'll go from 1 to 2, but your lab is going to be postponed. I'm sorry about that. Your lab will be postponed until 2:30. And I don't know why I thought I had it on here. Maybe I had it on the wrong day. But we'll get moving and grooving with that. So here we go. Hopefully you've seen these tutorials. They're important that you guys watch the tutorials before we go over these, because we're going to be talking about paper space. I know I don't have the tutorial for that one up, but we've done some work. We're going to talk more about paper space and model space, and we're going to talk about viewports, and then we're going to talk a little bit about things like dimension styles and the like. So we're mostly going to be talking, and then in the lab we'll be doing. Now we only have, I think we have 2 weeks to do this. So let's go look at the calendar. Here we are here. Our portfolio will not be graded on Sunday, but it will be graded on the 4th. Okay. Annotate. No, it won't be graded on the 4th. It will be graded on the 11th. And there will be 2 modules due at the same time. Okay? So I'm kind of putting 2 things together. So I'm giving you extra time, but we're really only going to talk about annotations for a week or 2. Then we're going to get cranking, and you're going to actually do it on a bunch of these. Okay? And you're going to get a chance to do mechanical, architectural, civil, and more like mechanical planning, plumbing, things like that. So I've got to put 2 templates together for you. We're gonna look at those. So I got to clean that up for you a little bit. So this is not due. So we're just going to talk about a bunch of it. So let's see what we... And I'm on the wrong one again. Here we go. So the tutorials that I've gotten here, I haven't put the paper space one in. We've talked about it. I've got it somewhere. I'll put it in. But this is about dimension styles. Okay? More dimension styles, and they're how to do it, architectural, and how to do leaders. So by Thursday, you're going to want to really know how to do those. Right? So read those, follow those, watch those, practice those. Do the best you can. We're going to really talk about paper space and what it's for. So let me show you as an example. Here I've got a drawing with a bunch of stuff being shown. Okay? And I've got a bunch of different sections that might show up here. And so by using layers and title blocks and things like that, I can put things in paper space and make them show up in many, many, many different ways. Okay? So I want to know about that. That's really important to me, that I can show different parts of a drawing. I can show this part of a drawing, and then over here I can show another part of the drawing, and over here I can show another part of a drawing, and I can use all different scales and things like that. Okay? So this idea of having a piece of paper where I can see different parts of the model is very, very important. Now, we're not going to start out that way. We're going to start out real simple, where I'm just going to show my whole drawing on one piece of paper, but there are other reasons why I can do this. So let me go really quickly now to what we're really going to do. Okay? So this is what we're going to work on for the next 3 weeks. First, I'm going to show you that we have a lot of stuff to do. We have brackets that are going to look like this. And we have a plot plan, a site plan. And we have a floor plan. And we have an isometric. And we have another mechanical thing. And that one I already showed you already. And we have this title block to make. Now don't freak out because I actually gave you the drawing already. You're going to do what's called the annotation. You do not have to draw all those. I'm giving you the drawings. And you're going to put those annotations on there. But let's take a look and see why we might do that. And I'm going to do it using this one. And I'm going to make a Jamboard out of it really quick. Okay, so I have a drawing here, and there's different parts of it, and we've talked about that a little bit before. There are annotations like dimensions and callouts. There are a bunch of lines. And then there are things called hidden lines, which we've talked about. I really just see this top of this thing, but underneath it, I see that there's some configuration I'd like to see. And from the front, I really just see this surface, but I see that there's stuff inside it on the other side I'd like to see. And then there's information about the drawing itself. Okay? And some of that is just information for people, and some is information for machine tools to read. Okay, what would be read by a machine tool? This actual figure right here. The shape of the part would be made by a mill or a 3D printer or an EDM machine. Okay, there'd be something that makes it, and the machine is going to read your actual physical model dimensions and write some code, and it's going to tell the machine where to go. But then somebody has to be able to check that information and make sure it's right. So people need to be able to check it. So we want these dimensions on there so that we can talk about it. Now, if these dimensions were all in the model, the machine tool would go like this. and then it come to this little break here and go, I don't know what to do. It does. I tell you, I've run machine tools, and that was a nice sound. You would not believe the sound of a machine tool freaking out. It's either driving down into the metal or zapping up or going against a stop. And then your boss runs over, the foreman, and starts hitting you with a wrench because you caused oh, it's terrible. So we have to be very careful with these. Another reason why, like sometimes you'll draw a line and you'll accidentally put a line over it. Well, guess what? The machine tool is going to go, and you just wasted a whole bunch of time. So it's very, very, very important that we draw carefully. So anyway, some of this goes, now you could with layers turn it off and tell your machine tool to only read certain layers, but it's much easier just to say, read model space, go do it. Okay? And then it'll read the model. So now we do put hidden lines in the model because that is an easy layer just to say, don't read that layer. So it sounds like we're very careful, but then we go, but putting hidden lines in the model. What you'll really find, though, is that now we make 3D models, and the hidden lines are only in paper space. But I'm going to let you draw these in the model. Likewise, the machine tool doesn't need to know who the company is, or what class we're in, or what the scale is, or what the title is. The machine tool just goes make, and that's it. So all this blue stuff goes in paper space. And those are considered annotations. They go on your piece of paper. Okay? The title block goes on the piece of paper. And I'm going to give you a couple of different title blocks to use, and you can use whichever one you want. And then the model itself is in the place where you've been doing all your drawings so far. And so there's a little process that we go through when we do that. So the first thing that we're going to have to do is to create a title block. If you're going to put a title block in your drawing, you need a title block. And you don't want to draw that title block every time you do a drawing. And that's why we call it a title block. A block is a pre-made drawing that you can put into another drawing. And then just make some minor changes to it. So we're going to make a title block. Now this title block doesn't have much information. The one we're going to use has more. But that's the first thing we need to do, is make a title block. And so I've got a template for you, and you're going to look at the information that I've given you and write some text. And I'm going to give you some hints on that. And then you're going to add layers. Because remember how on Thursday you made a whole bunch of layers. Can you imagine doing that on every drawing and having to set that up? It would be a nightmare. And I've actually worked on a drawing that had 1,000 layers in it. Okay, it was a big drawing. It was the Golden Gate Park, the Museum of Science. 1,000 layers on that baby. Oh my gosh, can you imagine? And the city of Sacramento, their standard one has like 300 layers. So your title block, when you insert it, also drags all the layers in with it. So by making a very simple drawing called a title block, you get to do two things. You get to put in a pre-made title block, and ours is going to be a little fancier than this, but I'm going to give you this one also to work with. And it gives you the layers you're likely to use. Woo! It pre-populates it. So we're going to do that once. Okay? And here are the setup of the layers. These are the layers that I want you to use. Okay? There's geometry or the object, and these are mechanical, by the way. Okay? Architects use a different set, but I just want you to get this one done at least. Then we'll talk about the others. Geometry or the object, text, hidden, center, dimension, and something called depth points. And depth points will either show up or I'll show you how to make one called no print. So you're going to do that. And then what are you going to do? You're going to open a pre-made drawing, bracket. And then you're going to insert the title block. And then I'm going to teach you about mechanical dimensions. They mean something. And our title block isn't showing it, but 2 decimal places means something to my acceptance of this part. And that's usually stated on the title block. But you can imagine if I had 2 decimal places shown, it's probably not as important a dimension as if I have 4 decimal places shown. Or if I have fractions that are in quarters of an inch. So how precise you write your dimension makes a big difference into whether you'll accept the part as you measure it or not. Okay? And we call that the allowable variance or the tolerance. Okay, so mechanical dimensions are very important about that. And there are some other things about it. They always look, if this is the bottom of my page, they're always rotated so that I see it from the bottom of my page. Okay? Architects don't do that, neither do civil people. That's purely a mechanical thing. So we'll talk about those things for you, and you'll get a chance to do those. Then we'll do an architectural floor plan, and they have their own dimension style. Where were those? Floor plan. See how it looks different? I mean, it just looks different. They're feet and inches. They're lined up all the way. They're on top of the line. They got tick marks. They just look different. Okay, so we want to know about that and understand that and be able to make ours look right. Okay, and then site plans look even different still. Look, there's no tick marks on half of this stuff. There are in a few places. My call-outs look different. All of these have a different look. And let's see, where's that isometric? And that one really looks different. Everything's got like leader lines. There's no real dimensions on it. Everything's annotations, and they got weird stuff on it. This was my life for years. And so you don't have to know everything about these, but you do have to know where to go to make it look right. Okay, does that make sense for everybody? Is that like, kind of like, oh, okay, I got it. It's kind of cool. Okay, now, here's another note for you. on this module, these two modules, this set of assignments, I do need to see your AutoCAD because I can't tell enough from a PDF. Okay? I'm going to have you submit your AutoCAD. Some of you may wish to partake in a trial run. We're trying to make a checking program so that you guys can pre-check your drawing ahead of time to make sure that it's looking pretty good, it's pretty right. And so some of you, and it's kind of technically complex and there's going to be problems and we're going to have things wrong, but we're checking the program and that we've written it. Design Tech has written it with one of our computer science students. And we're going to need help debugging it and checking it. So if you're very forgiving and very hard to frustrate and like trying to figure out what went wrong, we'll give you an opportunity to check some of these drawings against our program and give us feedback and go, okay, I really did get it right and it told me it was wrong. Or, well, that was good, but I couldn't really tell, or whatever. Or it's too hard to use. But you are going to have to, it's a requirement that you give me your AutoCAD drawings for this module. Because I actually need to open them to see now. Okay? So be sure that every time you do one of these, you're going to open a drawing, then you'll save it with your own name on it. You'll put in the title block and put the dimensions on it. Okay? Cool. And it's really not too hard. Check out the styles, add the layers, talk about Okay, so in the lab, which I'm not going to do till 2:30 today, and I'll go a little bit later, so my apologies, but I have a meeting at 2. Let me just go over this create title block for you. So in here, I've got title block and layers, a picture, a template, and some commands. So let me actually open this template for you and show you how it's going to work, although I'm not really going to do a heavy-duty demo. So I need to download that, and I need to put it in a file that I can get to. So sorry, my AutoCAD on my machine is dead. I'm working on VMware, so I have to go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth today between a lot of different things to get anything. Today's work, TBA template. So I fully understand and I know and I get what it's like when you guys have to work off of VMware. So here's my AutoCAD, and I'm going to close this for now. No. And I'm going to open that file. And I just want to look at it and talk about it a little bit. Today's work. So that's what your template looks like. It's like, that's pretty ugly. Okay, I'm going to turn off my line weights for a sec. And so that's what you're going to get. And what you'll see is that this is a very specific template that will fit on an A-size drawing. So I'm going to get rid of this. And if I were to copy this and put it on here, it fits and it's pretty well framed. So that's the idea behind a title block. You've got a square that will fit on most plotted paper. Now, I'll tell you, this square is different. See this dotted line here? That's on the plotter for this layout that's been selected. That's the margin or the bleed that the plotter can't go into. So now I'm going to show you something about layout. If I right click and I go to manage, I can check out this page. So I'm going to modify it. And it tells me all sorts. It says, I'm going to plot to Adobe PDF. Okay. If I've got another plotter, it will give me maybe different sizes. And I can set this up for a physical plotter too. But let me do maybe, I'll pick this one. And let's just see. See how now it sees the whole thing. There is no bleed on that one. Okay, so now I might have to move this over to get it to sit right on my page. So every single one of these has its own little setup. So let me modify that again. And let's say that I want that to move over a little bit. I can move it, and I'm going to guess 0.25 inches. I want to move my plot a 1/4 of an inch over. See how now my margins are different? So this is why we have the piece of paper, because it can plot and you can set it up to go to anything you want. But we're just going to use general PDF. So here we go. I'm going to set up my piece of paper, and you can make more layouts, all sorts of stuff. And I'm going to clear that, 0, and I'm just going to put it back to good old Adobe PDF. Default paper size, all sorts of things to do here. Okay? And we'll talk more about plotting later. So now here's a cool thing. I'm gonna not save this. I'm gonna close it without saving. And I'm gonna start a new drawing. There we go. And I'm going, man, I wish I could put that thing on here. Actually, I take it back. Hold on a sec. I just blew it. I did want to save that. No, I'll do it this way. I'll go to my layout, and I can have a viewport on it already if I want. I'm going to go Insert, From Another Drawing, and let's see if I can find it. Today's Work, my template. Other drawing. Yeah, that's the one I want. Let me just drag it in here. Oh, look at that. That's so cool. So now, depending on how much work I've done on this thing that I've called template, this will be fully filled out. It'll have all my stuff. So that's why we're trying to be good about making our template right, because I'm going to use this on every single drawing I do from here on out. well, not everyone. All of my little A-size mechanical drawings are going to use this one. And I can always just have it handy on a USB or on my desktop, and I go, oh, I want that title block. Now I'm going to show you another thing about it, just to demonstrate. Right now, I only have a 0 layer in this drawing. So I'm going to do this demo again. Just going to get rid of this. And I'm going to open this up again, and I'm going to do it just a little bit different. I'm going to make some more layers. I'm going to make something called title block text. No, I'm going to make text. And I'll make it red because I think that's what it is. And I'm in millimeters, and I remember how to fix that to make it inches. And my text is like usually 0.014. So let me write some text in here right now. And then I think I want one called border. And I'm going to put all of these little lines on the border layer. Okay. So now, this is really cool. If I tell myself I'm going to be writing some text, I can write text and I can put it in here. And there's lots of ways I can put stuff in here. But I'm just going to, for right now, I'm going to do it the kind of clunky way. Single line text. I'm going to put some text in there. Sorry. I'm going to start right there. I don't know what this is doing right now. There we go. My text height is going to be like 0.25. And I'll write American River College. And then I can go DT with a left justification, and I can start up here. Or midpoint. Why is that not click? There it goes. And I can put title, oops, specify a height, 0.09 maybe. And I can write title, right? So I can set this up to look cool, and I can have all my layers on here. So now I'm going to save this again. I'm going to close it. Quick save is not saving very quickly. Close. So what is the gist of what I've just done? Don't focus on the details there. I just wanted to show that I could make the template look like what I want it to look like. My template looks like what I want it to look like, and it has the layers I want. Now when I start a new drawing, and I go to my layout, and I have a blank piece of paper, I can insert that template and look how it looks now. It's cool. And what's really cool is my layers came with it. So can you guys imagine how powerful that is? No longer do I have to redraw this piece of paper every time, or do I have to go through this layer setup property every time. I can make a template and just call my template. And so then your question might be, well, what if I need to change it? You just go to your template drawing and change it. Or you change this. You explode it. And now everything can be clicked separately and you can change every item. The other question you might ask is, would I have one of these for mechanical, one for civil, and one for architectural? And the answer is yes. You might even have one, if you work in a big company, for each customer that you work for, so that you can keep them straight and know that the stuff you're giving to them is just for them. So working with title blocks and templates is one of the first things that entry-level designers do, because it gets them familiar with their workplace. Okay, but here's the big point. This is the point. Okay? Your template is used over and over and over again to make your job easier. And the template goes on the piece of paper. It goes on the piece of paper. Okay? Your drawing goes in the model. Your text goes on the piece of paper. And we're going to talk about text more in the lab. Okay, but that's what we've got. Okay? If you're doing dimensions, they go on the piece of paper. If you're doing a leader, it goes on the piece of paper. If you're doing a tolerance, it goes on the piece of paper. Okay? Any questions about that? All that stuff on the piece of paper. So that's mostly what this unit is going to be about. So let me show you in general terms how this is going to work. The first thing you're going to do is find a file. So where are my files? There they are. So I'm going to download a mechanical file. So I'll do this one called swing bracket. And I'm going to go save my swing bracket somewhere where I can see it. There we go. I've got, thought I put it in there. Where did it go? Swing bracket. There we go. So I'm going to open that file. Open my file, swing bracket. And I'm going to take a look at it. First thing I do is I always check my units. Fractional inches. Well, that's unitless. Oh my gosh, no. What do we work in? Decimal inches. Whenever you open a new drawing, check the units. Okay. And so I see that it's a thing. I may understand it. I may not. I can see what that looks like because I've seen it forever. Oh, and over here, look. It's showing up on my piece of paper because there's a viewport. And I've already got that viewport. And my viewport is on something called the depth points layer, which means it's not going to plot. So I think I'm okay, but I see it. And when I select it, down here in the lower right, it says I'm on my piece of paper right now, and my viewport is a 1-to-1 scale. That's important for me to know. Because if I were to stick a ruler on it, I would measure directly. So I'm getting all sorts of information. But now I'm ready to annotate it. So I know it needs a title block. Let me insert a block from another drawing, title block. Okay, and I can probably move that over just a bit. And I can even scale it a little bit if I want, because this isn't going to print all that well. At least not with my page layout the way it is. So I might need to go to my page layout. Oh, see? It's set up for a different printer. So let me do it to the printer that I think will work. Oh, way better, huh? Isn't that good now? So the next thing I've got to do is this is kind of in a funny spot. So I need to move my viewport. And I'm moving the whole viewport. That looks pretty good. And I might need to move it over. I have to position this on my drawing so that I have room to do its work. I think that'll work. And then I'm going to adjust the viewport so it's not quite so ugly. There we go. See how everything seems like it fits in there a little bit better now? And I've got all these things in here because those were in my original one. I might have to go back and change some of these. Like my dimension is green and stuff. You can do that later on. But now I'm ready to put my dimensions on and my annotations on. and all that kind of cool stuff. And so I can do that now. And that's the process that you'll go through. You'll put dimensions on. Oops, yep. And you'll learn some of the rules about doing these. Okay, and I don't like that color. Didn't match what we did before. There we go. That's nicer. And so you'll learn how to make this look like that PDF, or at least pretty close to it. Okay? So that's what we're going to focus on. Take a drawing and a model and put the dimensions on it so that it looks like what your sample looks like. So you're going to want to put all these dimensions on it in about the same place with about the same number of with the exact same number of decimal points, and with the same information. You'll have maybe a different title block. I'll probably give you this title block also. And you're just going to make these. Okay? Does that help you understand what this next unit is going to be about? Now, I haven't told you how to do it. I'm just explaining what it's for. Anybody have questions at this point about what this unit is about? And we've got 3 weeks to do this unit and the next unit. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. I'm going to log off. I've got another meeting that I need to go to. I expect it to be done by 2:30. So I'll come back onto the lab meet at around 2:30, and I'll actually demonstrate the title block assignment and how to do it in a little bit more detail. And remember, you're going to need to do the template, the portfolio template as PDFs, and submit your AutoCAD drawing this time. Okay? All right. Well, I'll see you guys in about half an hour, and you can just keep working away, but I'm going to log off right now.